Hello, this is Greg Van Kirk, and I'd like to take a few minutes to walk you through the Our Core Values collaborative change-making tool. Our How Might We Here is how might we align our individual and team core values. And a couple of notes before we get started. Most importantly, this is just a really helpful universal tool that I use all the time in all of the work that I do, and I think you'll find the same. I certainly use this as an educator with student groups, be it from student government groups to groups that are trying to identify problems and design innovations, be it business or nonprofit. As a facilitator, this is wonderful to use in workshops, in plenary, or with smaller groups, people around tables. Really helps to set the tone. Certainly, as a consultant, I'm using it with clients, as a coach, certainly with groups of volunteers in communities. So just an all the way around, excuse me, just super helpful tool, and something you can use very, very quickly. You really only need 10, 15 minutes to do this maximum. So let me go to the actual description of it. So as always, at the top, we have this about this Our Core Values tool. So we've got a description. And then on the left-hand side below that, we have the other header, which is how this Our Core Values tool works, and then the tool itself on the right. So I'm going to take a few minutes here and just read through the about this Our Core Values tool, and then we'll go to how to actually use the tool. So your core values shouldn't be something that you post on your website and forget about. They should be one of your team's most useful assets. They're guardrails, quote unquote guardrails, to help you stay on course to achieve your why. You get your why, and your core values keep you on the path to get there. They help you make decisions in complex environments where there are no right and wrong decisions, only better and worse ones, right? You're working in the gray. With this in mind, this Our Core Values tool should help you and your team define and align your core values. To note, the more frequently you use your aligned core values, the more equipped you'll be to empower collaborative change making. In particular, use your aligned core values as touchstones, something you can point to during ideation conversations to help you avoid falling into the trap of debating who has the best idea or solution. Ask yourselves, which idea is most aligned with our core values? By doing this, your core values keep you metaphorically, quote unquote, sitting on the same side of the table. All right. So super helpful tool. Look at these as a tool. So how this Our Core Values tool works. Number one, if we look down below, first, make photocopies, make an editable copy of the Google Sheet, or make sure that everyone can see the tool and has a place to note down their individual responses. So you can have a Google Sheet, you can have a piece of paper that you print out. People can pull it up on their phones or on their screens, just as long as they can note something down, as long as they can see the actual tool over here on the right. Number two, now that you're set up, tell everyone they have 2 minutes to review and check the boxes for, or note down, or these in a piece of paper, their top 20 most important core values under the round one headers. All right, so let's look over here at the tool to make sure we're clear on where that is and how it works. At the top of the tool, you see our priority core values. There's space for 6. Right, we'll come to that later. This is what you fill in last. These are your aligned core values. Then if you look down below on the tool, you see 3 columns of core values in alphabetical order. Right? And then you have next to each core value round 1, round 2, round 3, a place where you can check the box. Okay, so what we're saying here, if I go back to number 2, is we're going to spend 2 minutes. Right? You can spend 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however much time you want to allot to it, that's fine. But you want people thinking quickly and not overthinking, to note down their core values. And then next to round 1, and you see people should feel free to add core values that haven't been included in the tool. There's a space for that down below, but if there isn't something here that's a core value, that's something that really matters to somebody, please add it. This is simply a guide, as always. Number 3, next it's time to start narrowing down. For round 2, give everyone exactly 1 minute. Again, you could give more or less time. Ask them to check the boxes for or note down their top 10 core values from the 20 they just selected. All right, so picking out of the 20, we're picking 10. Number 4. For round 3, give everyone 30 seconds and ask them to check the boxes or note down their top 3 core values out of the 10. You could have people do 2, you could have people do 1 if you want to. Number 5, after this, have everyone on the team share how the activity felt for them. Was it easy or is it difficult? why. Right? Always good to reflect and share the experience, right? It's going to help people get to know each other better, be more empathetic towards each other. Then have everyone share their top 3 core values aloud and why they chose them. Number 6, next, see if you can come up with 3 to 6 you see in the top there. Maybe you got 5, maybe you got 3, maybe you want to have 7, it's up to you. See if you can come up with 3 to 6 core values that everyone is aligned on. Note these down at the top of the tool next to the Our Priority core values. And there you have it. Those are your aligned core values, right? Where's the overlap that you all have? Number 7, as always, to conclude, go to Now What and note down a few priority next steps based on what you've learned and or new insights you've gained from using this tool. Okay, so you can see a really straightforward, simple tool to use. Okay, what hats do you wear? So what are some application ideas here? We've got 12 different hats. You might have different hats or more hats, and certainly different creative ideas on how you could potentially use this. Okay, I'm going to pick a few of these. You can go through them yourselves, right? I'll start on the top left with businesses. Use this when you're starting up and or scaling. Also great for project teams, employee resource groups, and the like. You might also use this as a modified version of, you might also use a modified version of this during the hiring process. Maybe you have somebody who's a potential team member go through and go through what their core values are, and then you can have a conversation with that and see how you align. You're going to learn more about the person and vice versa. If I go down to consultants, right? Use this with clients when you first start out on a project to help guide your work together. Use this with different project teams, as all will have slightly different core values based on those of their members. And people show up with different core values. Facilitators, as I noted, based on the goal of a given project or session, have participants work through this as one of your first activities. It's dynamic and it sets a great tone. It most certainly does. Students, I already talked about how this is great for any student group. I go up to parents at the top right, use this with your children and or as a family as a simple daytime or dinner activity. It should spark some helpful and insightful conversations. Great to learn about your kids and vice versa. And maybe you come up with your family core values that you put on the refrigerator. Entrepreneurs, innovators, use this to start out and on a periodic basis to check in as your team grows and changes. Right? Making sure that you're aligned. What something looked like 6 months ago may not be what something looks like today. Make sure you're all in the same place and you're all using the same guardrails. Nonprofits, use this for the whole organization, for project, volunteering, et cetera. Teams, make sure you prioritize including community members whenever they're a stakeholder. I will always keep emphasizing that, right? You're designing with, not designing for, coming up with respectful, empathetic, dignified solutions with community members. Going down to volunteers. If you're volunteering alone, use this as a guide to help you figure out your core values to help guide your work. For volunteering teams, use this before you start working together. Keep emphasizing that. Any kind of team, you should work on this. And then finally, individuals. Use this in your life, your own life, to check in on yourself. What are my core values, right? And that you're acting and making decisions in accordance with your most important core values. Something I should do more myself, I believe. So that is it. Those are the different hats. Here's your core values tool. Certainly don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, you want any more ideas, you have any thoughts, you want to collaborate. I am here. So thank you for taking the time and have a great day.